Hello, my name is Mary Beth Hines. I am honored to be the host of Keys for SLPs Learning from Legends series in honor of ASHA's 100th anniversary. Today, I'm joined by a co-host for this final episode, Michelle Dawson, MS, CCC, SLP, CLC, BCS-S, who is the host of the First Bite podcast. Before we begin, a reminder that this episode is available for Point One ASHA CEU. If you are joining us on a podcast platform and would like to earn ASHA CEUs, please complete all modules for this episode on your Speech Therapy PD account. And here are the disclosures. Mary Beth Hines, the host of Keys for SLPs, receives compensation from Speech Therapy PD. Michelle Dawson is receiving financial compensation from Speech Therapy PD for co-hosting this episode. Perry Flynn is paid by the University of North Carolina at Greensboro. Perry Flynn is ASHA's President Elect for 2026. Vicki R. Williams is a paid employee of ASHA. She is a member of ASHA and a member of the ASHA Board of Directors.
All right, I have the honor of introducing today's guest. Ms. Vicki Williams, MA, CCC, SLP, CAE, is the Chief Executive Officer of the American Speech Language Hearing Association, where she has served on staff for over 30 years. A certified association executive and fellow of the American Society of Association Executives, ASAE, Vicki is also an ASHA certified speech language pathologist and an ASHA fellow. Her expertise and thought leadership lie in strategically advancing diversity, leadership development, and resource stewardship to achieve long-term goals. Vicki has a proven track record of guiding staff and members through change and consistently works to foster an inclusive organizational culture. She does. She is known for articulating a clear vision and driving results through collaboration and partnership across all levels of the organization, including volunteer leaders, members, students, clients, patients, vendors, staff, and other stakeholders. Perry Flynn, MED, CCC, SLP, BCS-S, CL, CTRI. Y'all, they gave this to the one with ADHD who didn't have her reading glasses on. Is the consultant to the North Carolina Department of Public Instruction in the area of speech language pathology and a professor at the Department of Communication Sciences and Disorders at the University of North Carolina in Greensboro. He's a fellow of the American Speech Language Hearing Association, a two-time member of ASHA's Board of Directors, and a board-certified specialist in child language. He's a professional association of therapeutic horsemanship, PATH-certified therapeutic horseback riding instructor, and he has presented several times at ASHA conventions on the topics of recruiting and retaining men and minorities in speech-language pathology and has written several articles on the topic. And y'all, been blessed to have them both involved in presentations previously, and I can tell you they are authentically kind and compassionate humans that want what's best for our field. And that's a lovely thing. So, ladies and gents, thank you so much for coming on today. And hi.
It is our pleasure to be on. Thanks so much for those lovely introductions.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Well, we are... I just want to say we're so happy to have you. We've had a whole series of legends. As we said before the show, our legends have been kind and humble and have given so much to our profession. And we are just so excited to have you with us today. And it truly is an honor.
We are honored to be counted among legends of the profession.
You know, you could add that to your all those other acronyms, right?
Yeah, it doesn't quite feel like it fits.
No, it does. Yeah, right. But it is very humbling to be considered that.
Well, why don't y'all kick us off with something fun? A fun fact about yourselves or a tidbit. It could be personal, it could be professional. Like a good old-fashioned icebreaker. How about that?
Vicki, you want to go first?
Sure. I am a first-time grandmother.
Oh, honey, congratulations.
I am living the dream. It's as good as they say it is, My husband said, and I have been saying this over and over again, but my husband said if we had known grandparenting was this good, we would have skipped kids.
Uh,
Wait, is it a boy or a girl?
It's a boy.
Have you been peed on yet?
No. And I am counting the day but he is now 9 months.
Wow.
So
That's amazing.
I am safe. I think I've got a system down.
Just wait till potty training. You're safe, friend.
Michelle has 2 boys, if you didn't guess.
Well, we have 2 girls, so this is, like I said, this is just nirvana. So it's absolutely,
New territory for you to have a boy in.
it is.
Well, Perry, how do you top that? Have you been peed on by a grandchild yet? Should we
I have
segue?
not. I don't have biological children of my own. I had 2 foster children. They were grown up, so they were past that stage. I have been peed on by friends' children, however. So I guess that makes me a member of the club.
Earned your stripes.
My stripe. So I will say that my fun fact is that I have a thoroughbred racehorse who I adopted off the racetrack. He ran in 7 races and won his first one and came in last. I mean, dead last in the next 6, which is why I have him. And or he has me is probably the more accurate. My life revolves around his comfort. He just has his body work specialist work on him on Monday. So I got my little report last night about what his body work specialist had to say.
Wait, what's his name?
Carson.
Oh, lovely.
Person.
Yes, he is. I am very privileged to have him. He's a very nice horse. He and I both think so.
I feel like he systematically bombed the last 6 because he knew he took the first race and was like, yeah, this is not the lifestyle for me.
He's very smart. He's very smart. And you can see the races. And right in the middle of the race, he kind of like puts on the brakes. This is too much work. Like, well, I'm doing this. I could just coast and I'm going to finish the race just like everybody else. No need to do anything. Will you be riding him? I will not be riding him during this presentation. No, I do ride him. Yes. He's older. He's a little older. And he is learning to be a show horse. So, he goes to summer camp in Southern Pines, North Carolina, with a good friend of mine who is our trainer. And he lives a very cushy life. You all wish that you lived like, yes, I do jump. He's a hunter. For those of you that know that. So we won't jump big jumps, but we will try and look pretty jumping little jumps.
So fun. Wow. And how many horses have you had?
So I've had 4 horses of my own. And I've kept them all their lives. Whenever I get them, like that's where they're going to stay for the rest of their life. So I've had 4. Carson is the 4th.
4 lucky horses. All right. Well, let's jump into SLP. Tell us about your journey, what led you to SLP, your early career, and what eventually led you to your current role and upcoming role.
Vicki, you want to go first?
No, you go
No.
first. You got to figure out how to do this quick.
Okay, yeah. So this could be a long story. This could really take up the rest of the time. Okay, so I had an interesting start to speech language pathology. I went to a all boys Catholic high school in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, Central Catholic High School. We had to take an aptitude test when I was in my junior year. It said that I should be a priest, a veterinarian, or a speech language pathologist. So I knew the ins and outs of the first 2. I investigated speech language pathology, and here we are. So I started out where I'm teaching now at the University of North Carolina at Greensboro, partly because I wanted to stay on the East Coast. the horse situation was really important to me, and my coach's brother had a farm in Southern Pines at that time, which is about an hour and a half south of here. So I would go to school a majority of the week and then travel down to Southern Pines and spend the weekend there riding. So I did that. I graduated from here, undergraduate and graduate school at the University of North Carolina, Greensboro, and then worked in the schools for 12 years. After I worked there for about 5 years, 4 school districts merged, and they hired a lead speech language pathologist to help with that merger, and that was me. And then 2 professors that taught me wrote a federal grant to the Department of Education, a personnel prep grant that was funded, and they hired me as the coordinator of that grant. And then when that 3 years was over, the director of exceptional children at the North Carolina Department of Public Instruction entered into an agreement with our dean to buy out half of my time to be the state consultant, which is like the head of speech pathology for the public schools of North Carolina. And I've been in that sort of split position between mostly clinical practice, teaching, and the consultant for about the last 20 years.
Have you interfaced with Angie Neal from South
Yeah,
Carolina?
sure. Angie's fantastic. Sure.
She's a wonderful human.
She is the me of South Carolina, or maybe I should say I am the Angie Neal of North Carolina.
Yes. Folks, if y'all are looking for a tiny petite powerhouse that's brilliant to teach you about R and literacy acquisition and speech sound disorders and the SLP's role, Angie's go-to. She's brilliant for that, and advocacy. Yes.
Okay.
Okay,
so-
Vicki, now's your turn.
Well, wait a minute, Perry.
Oh,
you're not finished.
Okay, I'm not. All right.
Okay, so you've had some incredible roles and have made significant contributions, but not everyone gets to be the president-elect of ASHA. So tell us about that part of your journey.
So I, as the bio said, I was on the ASHA Board of Directors twice before as the chair of the Speech Language Pathology Advisory Council, when that has morphed now into the Committee of Ambassadors. But so I did that, and then I was elected to be the vice president for planning, and Vicki Deal-Williams was my chief staff officer at that time. So Vicki and I have worked together for a long time together. And then, you get nominated, people nominate you then for the presidency, and the Committee on Nominations and Elections chooses some people to move on with the interviews. They interview 3 people, they select someone and put that out to the membership to vote on a slate. And that's how I got here to President-elect.
Well, congratulations to you. And again, thank you for your current contributions and the contributions over the next 2 years.
Thank you. Now is it Vicki's turn?
Now it is officially Vicki's turn. We've given you enough time to think about this.
There is really no shortcut to this story.
Never.
So I'm going to do the best I can to chop out pieces of it. And I'm going to take a different approach this time. There's a quote on the Martin Luther King Memorial that says, and I have to read it because I have yet to commit this to memory as many times as I've looked at this quote. It says, "Make a career of humanity, commit yourself to the noble struggle for equal rights. You will make a greater person of yourself, a greater nation of your country, and a finer world to live in."
Yeah.
That quote was something that he said in the year I was born. So if you go look it up, you know how old I am. But that year to me was instrumental because, one, I was born that year, but I think that was my calling. That's what I was supposed to do. So when you talk about my journey, that's kind of like, okay, Vicki Deal-Williams was born that year. Vicki Deal was supposed to go through all that she went through to get to the point where I am today, because I'm supposed to do what it said on that wall.
Yes.
The story. That's the short version of the story. The longer version of the story includes the fact that I had to take a basic science class. I took a class in processes and pathologies of human communication because all of the pre-med folks were messing up the curve because I was playing volleyball and wasn't in class most of the time. And so I took that class and I was like, oh, this is interesting. And it turns out it was a speech class. And so I took some more and I was like, oh, I really like this. It was kind of like being a pediatrician, but not really. And I was like, okay, let me take some more of these. I tried that. I really liked it. I stayed in it. I tried some other things. Again, long story short, stuck with it because it was getting really expensive to stay in school at Northwestern. And I was like, I got to get out of here. So I stayed there. I could get out with my master's degree in 5 quarters, got out of school. Someone basically discovered me working at the Cleveland Hearing and Speech Center and said, you need to be thinking about doing something else. And I thought about what they said and I did what they told me to do. And they basically mentored me into a role that led me to ASHA. I started working at ASHA in the kindergarten work release program. So very young.
Wait, what's a kindergarten work release program? Because you say that and I think of Kindergarten Cop with Arnold Schwarzenegger, and that is a very different concept.
No, very real. No, this was kidding. I'm kidding. But I was really young when I came to ASHA. And I basically learned from you talk about legends. I learned from some amazing people whose shoulders I still stand on. And I look back at what I consider a very storied career, to have learned and watched so many people who came through the ASHA office and to be able to watch them and learn from them. Many people know that I left the professions for a few years, went to work at Fannie Mae, the Federal National Mortgage Association, not the candy company, and learned a whole different version of leadership that I was able to bring back to ASHA and apply in the work that I did as a chief staff officer for multicultural affairs, and then to be able to do lots of different kinds of things at ASHA. ASHA has been a true blessing for me, and given me lots of opportunities to learn and grow and apply things that I've learned about running an association. And that's why I said it's a very storied career that I've had. And it has all been built around trying to improve people's lives, which is the work that our members do. And it's just a very different path. But it gives me a platform to elevate the work that ASHA members do in a really different way. I do different kind of work than speech language pathologists and audiologists do now. And I get to amplify that work on a regular basis. And like I said, I consider it a blessing.
We're better because you do it, though. I mean, really, truthfully, we're better for the work that y'all do and the work that nobody sees or knows
No.
about.
One of the things that people don't know, the 300 plus people that work at the ASHA National Office care so much about what our members do. I asked earlier this year, when things were coming at us left and right, and everybody was afraid to just move and do anything. I asked the staff what they were most afraid of that was work-related. I wasn't really worried that they were afraid of spiders, but I asked what they were most afraid of, and they were worried that members weren't going to be able to provide services to people who needed the work that our members do. And that's who works at the national office. And I don't know that people really understand how hard those 320 people work for them on a regular daily basis. And that is the norm for all of the folks that work at the national office.
And I can totally agree with Vicki from a volunteer leadership perspective. Like, they are so dedicated to supporting us and supporting members in any way they can. And I don't think members understand that or take advantage of the great wealth of knowledge that ASHA staff people possess.
I have had the opportunities to see moments going through the leadership development program, serving as TC for PFD for 2 years in a row. I got to see like glimmers of insight, of the passion and the wisdom, and it left me with a feeling of hope, especially today when I feel like hope is sometimes all we have left. And it also gets my ira up, if I'm being completely honest, when I see negativity in the world of social media, because I've had those moments of being present in the room and hearing the message and hearing the thought process of where we've been, of where we want to go, which leads us to the next question of where do we want to go for the next 100 years? But I don't know. My daddy and I are honestly currently not talking because of the state of the affairs of the world, but he did give one good bit of advice. And he said, with one breath, you can complain about it, but with that next breath, what are we working to do to resolve it? And that's what I wish all of us could pour and give back to our profession is what's that second breath? So tell us where to spend it, lady. Where do we go?
Well, so I'm going to start out this one, and I'm going to say, Vicki will probably go into a great bit more detail then, but I'm going to say, sort of related to what you said, the national office does so much and creates so much for members that I don't think they know about. And so I really want in the near future of the association to get the materials more accessible to the members. ASHA really hears member input and then creates resources, materials to answer that. But I think many of those resources go unutilized because people just don't know that they exist. So I think that we need to get that information into the hands of the membership so much better than we've done in the past. And Vicki knows that and is on it and doing all kinds of stuff to do just that. And it's also very important to me that we have a membership that looks more like the clients, patients, and students that we serve. And it doesn't right now.
Yes.
Only 4% of ASHA members are men. And, we predominantly serve boys and men, and that's just one example. And so I really want us to recruit and retain, and that's something that members can help with too, is I just don't think that especially boys in middle and high school know that the professions of audiology and speech language pathology exist. So I would love to challenge our listeners today to go to middle and high schools and talk to STEM and STEAM classes or career, on career days about the professions. It's been such an amazing work life for me, and I think so many people are missing out on it. We want the best and the brightest that have interest in it to be the next generation of ASHA members. So
Yeah.
I'm going to stop there.
It seems
Yeah.
like a great opportunity for NISHLA and for state associations to do that outreach
Yeah.
to
We need
middle school and high school.
everybody to do it.
And I think if you think about the future and the fact that we are 250,000 strong, all of us only need to do a little.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
But my vision is that we would all be more actively engaged, and find those resources and navigate what we have much more easily. And that's, Perry talked about the stuff that we've been working on. It's all behind the walls. But we have been working so hard to simplify that, to organize it differently. We have a huge content strategy project that's been underway to try to get all we do is content. I mean, that's what ASHA does. We develop content, but it is not organized in a way that members can find what they're looking for easily, and where it's information that will basically come to them. It will soon. It will soon. And Perry and I were talking, and we were talking about the search box, and he was saying that he tells people, "Oh, just Google it." And I was like, no, we want people to use the search. But yes, in the past, the search box hasn't worked. And even today, the search box still, you have to understand the system. I can find anything on the ASHA website, but I've been there for 30 years. I know how it
live
works.
there all the time.
Exactly. I live there. But if you don't know how it was built, you really don't. And it wasn't built for the people that don't live there. So we are about to redo that whole thing so that it is so much simpler. And I was having a conversation with a group this morning, and I think part of this is breaking things down to a level where it is so simple and the outcomes are exactly what we need them to be, that people can navigate this much more simply and easily, that they can find what they're looking for, and that they can find each other. That sense of community and connection is there. We know how important that is for members, and it's got to be in a system that works for everyone, and they don't have to pay for it. So we have taken some things away, and we have taken things apart, but we are putting them back together in a much simpler form. And my vision is that people start to get some of the tangible pieces of that, because again, it's so big. There's work that had to be done behind the scenes, and our system is so old. We had to rebuild it from the ground up. So the stuff behind the walls has to happen first. But some of the tangible pieces will roll out this year, and people will start to see some of that, and you'll see more and more and more of it.
I think I will say that the new sort of modern ASHA is really tuned into member input. And Vicki, I know, has gotten a lot of member input about that, the accessibility of the website, and they are really attending to that. So kudos to the new,
all of our resources.
Yeah, to the new modern ASHA under the big deal.
I truly appreciate y'all taking the SIG cost away so that it opens up the access for everyone. That's been amazing. And the communication developmental milestones that, and the feeding developmental milestones that are, English and in Spanish, that is, I use that Monday through Thursday because I don't work on Fridays, but I use that Monday through Thursday and give it to my caregivers who have found that incredibly helpful. So thank you for making user-friendly, non-scary
Well,
terms.
early in 2026, we're going to be launching the Communication Health Support Association.
What is
This is the consumer site, the new version of what used to be the National Association for Hearing and Speech Action, which was a web page. It will be an entire site with all the consumer information that we have, that we've had, broken down, simple, plain language in a site so that you'll be able to point your consumers to that.
Yes.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yes.
Thank you
Thank
for all
you.
that work. And Perry, thank you for all your work. I think that's how we initially met. I attended a seminar about men in the profession. And this is the third time that I've interviewed Perry. The first time we specifically spoke about men in the profession. And can you give us a little update on that work? I think that was 4 years ago. So what progress has been made in the last 4 years?
Yeah, some the speechandhearingcareers.org website has been really
Hearing and
updated.
speech.
Hearing and speech, right? Hearing and speech careers.org's, sorry, website has really been updated with some really inspirational stories of a bunch of different kinds of students and adults who have students and people who are working at all levels of their career to help people who are interested in the professions to know what to expect and to hear from people that look like them. So I think that's a big addition. Vicki?
And that information's being pushed out.
Yeah.
So they've been paid ads that have promoted that information to individuals who are juniors in high school through juniors in college, who are at that decision point where they're making decisions about where they're going to go to college, what they're going to major in, when they're in college, what they're going to major in, whether or not they're going to go to grad school. So we've had, and we have seen some differences. If you look at the percentages, nope, you're not going to see those differences. Somebody asked me that about underrepresented racial ethnic populations as well. You don't see the difference when you look at the percentage because the professions continue to grow. So
And
it would have to have astronomical growth.
sure. Another thing, Mary Beth, that's really exciting that has just it's just about a year old is a group called Men in CSD. And they have created the Men's Constituency Caucus. If you Google search either of those things, Men in CSD.
Put it in the search box. That will come up.
Okay, if you put it in ASHA's search box,
The ASHA search box.
or if you Google
Multicultural
it,
constituency groups. It will come up.
or if you Google it, Men in CSD, it'll come up, and it's a very recently professionally done website, and gives some resources for members to do exactly what I suggested a bit earlier, for everybody to use those resources and go to middle and high schools and talk to kids about what we do. And the group has provided some scholarships for students to attend the ASHA convention. They're going to do some continuing education things, all kinds of exciting things that it's been started by a young group of guys. Everyone can join. You don't have to identify as a male to join. Anybody can join. It's free. So there's my big plug.
Thank you. Thank you. We will check that out in the search box.
Make Vicki happy. Go to ASHA's website to get there. Yeah.
question I would have for you. This is we have recorded probably over 100 episodes or close to 100 episodes of Keys for SLPs, and during that time, we have interviewed several people who became SLPs as a second career. Is ASHA doing anything to seek out the second career potential constituency?
Maybe Vicky's got a better.
Yeah. We've done some, but not a whole lot. There are efforts that have, and the site that Perry mentioned, the Hearing and Speech Careers, does include a wide range of individuals who provide videos and their experiences entering their career, and highlighting what they see as valuable about the careers in both audiology and speech language pathology.
Another untapped group similar to they are second careers are people coming separating from the military.
Yeah.
And I've talked to a couple of speech language pathologists and an audiologist who have done that, and they come out of military service with so many great skills that will serve them well in our disciplines, and so we need to do a better job of getting to them. And I am talking with a couple of them about how to get to that population as they separate from the military.
There is information, I believe, on the career portal for individuals who are transitioning careers.
Yeah.
I have to wonder, what about seeking out members, future colleagues that represent our BIPOC community, but also our neurodivergent community? Because I have several colleagues that have lived experiences with ARFID and pediatric feeding disorder who have feeding tubes themselves. And the way they treat and engage and see the world, that my subspecialty population is immense, but wearing clinical supervisor hat, wearing director of clinical ed, trying to recruit Indigenous members, trying to recruit bilingual, monolingual, trilingual. It's hard. So what are we doing there? Do we have any plans for neurodivergent at this time?
So go ahead, Vicki.
Nope, go ahead.
Well, I think that the same thing for everybody. Some of those populations don't know that they could be speech language pathologists and audiologists. And if we talk, we want the best and the brightest of everybody.
Yeah.
But we got to let them know that that's a possibility for them. So, getting to kids early in middle and high school and letting them know that there is a place in our profession for all those people, that they bring valuable stuff.
Do
Yeah.
we? Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, we have not asked members who are neurodivergent to identify themselves. So we don't have a cadre of them to say, here's a group that we can hold out to use as mentors, to use in videos and that kind of thing. We've identified some through various means that we've used for professional development and so forth. But we have not identified them throughout the membership. And it's been an interesting process of late, trying to figure out how we do and don't ask people to identify themselves. So we are wrestling a little bit with how we do it.
Yes, and you're doing it gracefully. I mean, it's hard to be neurodivergent and acknowledge it, because my ADHD is my superpower. However, I do recognize that I jumped the gun and I am impatient. So yes, but that would be lovely to have tools as guidelines to go to these high schools, to go to these middle schools, and have pre-populated tools to say, hey, this is what you could do.
We
Check
do
out,
have
check out those.
tools related to the professions. So there are career tools for anyone who wants to do a career day. Yeah, so our membership unit has, if anybody is interested in doing a career day, just go to membership@asha.org and they will provide you with whatever you need. They are more than happy to have ambassadors to do that. And as a matter of fact, we still have live, I think it's called 100 Voices, one of the Centennial projects that's still up on the Centennial website, where you can actually go do a career day and they'll provide you with all the information that you need.
And that
Amazing.
Menon CSD website also has downloadable like infographics and stuff like that. That I think a PowerPoint as well that you can use for recruiting.
Amazing.
That is great. You know, so many people, you know, we do this because we love our profession, but it's hard to take off the time of work, and there are, you know, different barriers. Is there any kind of directory or list of the people who have done career fairs, even just like commending them? Yes,
Perry.
I don't know that,
No problem.
actually, that's a question for our membership folks. I don't know that we have a directory, but I'm sure they keep track of what's been done.
I'm just thinking if there was like a ribbon on, you know, the ASHA website, thank you
Badge
to,
on
and
there.
list, you know,
Mhm.
listing people's names. So just giving them a little motivation.
One of the things that is coming at the beginning of the year, the leadership profile and tracking system is rolling out. It is a system where basically any ASHA member will be able to go in and fill out their own profile to tell us things that they've done, skills that they have. We will be able to use this system for micro volunteering opportunities.
Yes.
Be looking at ways that we can recognize our volunteers in lots of different ways, digital badging, those kinds of things we're looking at. So it's exactly that, a way for members to be more engaged and actively connected. And, you know, if you've got 2 hours a month that, you know, you might be able to dedicate, there's something on that list of things that we might be able to use you for, as opposed to us saying, who do we know who might be able to do X, Y, or Z?
Yeah, that's
So
really
that's
nice.
coming
Yeah,
early
that's
in
a
2020.
really nice
Been
addition.
working on it for years.
Yeah, that's
Thank you.
gonna help members be able to volunteer to support ASHA in ways that work for them.
And a lot of members have thought that you have to serve on a committee
Sure,
or
right.
council.
Yeah.
There are so many more ways that we need members to engage with us and to connect with us. And we, again, a lot of times it's who do we know? And this will help us to do that much more effectively. And for some of those smaller tasks that we know people might be able to find the time to do when you don't have time to volunteer long term.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. I mean, as you said at the beginning, you're really listening to your membership and figuring out what their needs are and responding to them. So thank you for all the work that you are doing behind the scenes. On that note, you are supporting members in so many ways. How are you supporting the profession, adapting to new technologies, including AI and telepractice?
Vicki's gonna lead off on that one.
Yeah, we have a number of projects that we are working on. We are aware of the fact that our members' knowledge of AI and their ability to, their comfort, I'll put it that way, with AI varies. So there are some members who have been using AI and are very comfortable with it. There are other members who are not quite ready. There are some who are ready to dive in and are not necessarily doing it in ethical and ways that are probably best practice. So we are it'll happen in 2026, not as early as some of the other things that we're going to roll out. We're looking at actually 4 buckets. One, the foundation, the American Speech Language Hearing Foundation, just had, prior to the convention, an AI summit to look at funding mechanisms for funding research on AI. The other 3 ASHA buckets, one relates to staff's use of AI to increase efficiency. Another relates to how staff and members interact. So when members call us or need something, how we increase the effectiveness and efficiency in systems that we have in place using AI. One of the things that we do think that we'll be able to roll out is how a lot of people don't know, a lot of practitioners, clinicians don't know that they can just call the office, whether it's a speech language pathologist or an audiologist. We have practice folks on staff. If they have a practice question, that they can call and ask for help.
Yes.
We are trying to find a way to streamline some of that. And we do believe that we can do that with the use of AI. So that's something that we're hoping to roll out at some point this year, just as an example. Another bucket is how we help members by educating them on the ethical use of AI, educating them on how you can use AI in the work that you do, whether that work is educating students, whether that work is in clinical practice, whether that work is in administration, whatever it is that you do, how can you use AI to be more effective? But understanding that AI is a tool, that AI is not a replacement for the work that we do, that AI requires someone with clinical judgment, with discernment, with critical thinking skills. And that's where we come in, and empathy. AI is getting better at some of those things, but it can't and has not yet replaced us. I honestly don't think it will. We can use it, though, to do a much better job. The clinician who doesn't think about using AI is the one that's going to get replaced. And we need to position all of our clinicians to use AI effectively and to use it ethically.
Yes. We had 2 questions come up in the chat box. And the first one was about scholarships. And I believe it was from Sandra. And Sandra, ASH Foundation does a huge amount for scholarships. I've highly recommend them. I have colleagues that have been recipients as graduate students, as PhD students, as early career researchers. I plug for their 5K every August, run their, couch potato 5K, their 5K every August. But in addition to the ASH Foundation being a great resource for scholarships, also your state association. typically your state associations, which this is why we're members of our state associations, not just for lobbying, which segues beautifully into the next question in the chat box, but your state associations typically have in memorandum or in honor scholarships. They might have several different options. I know in South Carolina, we have the Sharonda Coleman Singleton Memorial Scholarship. So that's just one example. In Virginia, because I moved to Virginia 2.5 years ago, we have the Virginia Communication Disorders Foundation, and it's the scholarship arm of, loosely related to SHAV, the Speech Hearing Association of Virginia. So if you're looking for scholarships, please know that you have options. And then to the very hard question, which I will pass off to our lovely folks from ASHA, but I have to volley it back. Wearing past president of South Carolina, so much happens at your state level. You are ASHA and you are a member of your state association. And it is those volunteerisms, it's those concerns that get relayed over to your state association and the committees on your state association that really can drive a change at the level of your state. And it's crazy to think, but Kelly Caldwell in South Carolina, yet that woman has moved mountains and she has worked so closely with the government liaison from ASHA for guidance and practice. But it goes back to your state too. So we are ASHA and we are our state association, whichever you happen to be, SCISHA, SHAV. I don't know. Georgia sounds worse because it sounds like a wound, GASHA. But just bear that little bit in mind. And then I'll pass that very poignant question over to y'all.
Yeah, so I would agree. It starts back at some state advocacy. Lots of states that have state consultants, like North Carolina, we are really trying to advocate for caseload caps. We have caseload cap of 50 in North Carolina. However, that gets violated some, especially when we do have shortages of so many people in the schools. But, really working, and it's not just at the state level, it's at the local level. ASHA has many resources like the workload calculator, and the schools people at ASHA, the Division of School Services at ASHA, again, have tremendous staff people that are helpful to you to work in problem solving about shortages in your particular district, or how to talk to directors of exceptional children about solving some vacancies with contracts. But even then, there are some places, especially rural areas, that can't even find a contractor to solve those. So it's a very multifaceted problem, and ASHA is tackling it in many ways at that level, but it's another place that we need all of ASHA members to be tackling in their own workplaces and with their own leadership in their school districts. So that's what I have to say. Vicki?
Yeah, we often hear the expression, if you've seen one state, you've seen one state. I think you could probably say if you've seen one school system, you've seen one school system.
Absolutely.
Our schools team, Perry's right, does, I think, a yeoman's job. And if you go to the school services site, there is a plethora of resources that walk you through step by step. Try this. If that doesn't work, try this. And the next step would be to do this. And again, you can call them. They will walk you through step by step things that you can try, that caseload workload calculator. But ASHA's not going to recommend a caseload cap. ASHA's not going to lobby for a universal or a nationwide cap, because it doesn't apply across all states universally. It just doesn't. The advocacy that we do is at a level to try to work with groups like the National Education Association, and gosh, I just blanked on the other one, but
You guys have worked with CASE, the Directors of Exceptional Children Association,
the other large teachers association, but
NEA.
NEA, and there's another one. But bottom line, we work with those organizations. We work with the School Principal Association, and we work with them to try to make sure their folks understand who you are, the value that you provide, and the kinds of services, the amount of time that it takes for the services that you provide on a big level, so that then you can come in and say, okay, here's my situation. And in this particular instance, this is what I need in my situation. We have to partner and work together on those kinds of issues. And this is a long haul kind of thing. We've talked to folks in a number of states who have had success with this, where, they've talked and talked and talked, and they've made inroads with the folks that are their legislators, and they've gotten a partner who has been able to work through the system with them. It's not a simple thing. And yes, we do understand the burden of that. But they don't care about ASHA. They don't care who ASHA is. They care about who you are and what you say, because without you, nobody's getting services.
We saw this. We saw this come to fruition, the advocacy with the top-down interprofessional organization and the bottom-up with constituents with their voices when the CF appeals from Medicare went through the summer, because there was the appeal that no CF can administer therapy. And then all of that work, all of that initiative, it was top-down, it was local. That's what happens when you're the voice of change and you work collaboratively. And they pulled it back. They repealed it, which, huzzah, well done. I cannot fathom the amount of congratulations, team effort
Yes,
behind
thank
the
you,
scenes.
Lawrence. It was the American Federation of Teachers that I was trying to think.
All right, I want to go. I'm realizing now this probably should have been a 2-hour. And so now we have a lot of things that we still want to cover. So we're going to kind of just go through things quickly, if okay. So in that, a few minutes ago, we also talked about what is ASHA doing to support telepractice.
Yes, telepractice. We have a huge advocacy piece going related to telepractice, to try to make the telepractice efforts with
Medicare. I know that's been
yes, to make that permanent. And we continue to do that. There is a take action alert about that on the ASHA website. And the more people that click on that and tell your legislators to support that, the greater our chances are that they will hear us and consider doing that. So we have been doing that for years. We almost had it, and then the year ends and different people come in, and then we got to start over again. So let's
talk about that take action alert button on the website. Can you expand on that a little bit?
Yes. If you go on the ASHA website, there's a tab at the top that says advocacy. And if you click on that, and on the right side, it says take action or action alerts. And if you click that, it'll take you to a list of things that ASHA has actively engaged in, where you can actually help us by clicking it and writing your legislators. So it'll say, tell Congress to pass this, or tell Congress to address this. And if you click on the button that's next to that, you fill in a couple of pieces of information, And after you've done it once, maybe twice, it automatically fills it
Yes.
in for you. So the letter pops up and all you have to do is hit send. It is so simple. It's a few clicks and you can just go in one time and click on all of them and it will send the letters off to your Congress people and you have supported all of the things that ASHA wants help supporting. Right now,
They just have to know your zip code, and it sends it automatically to your legislators.
yes. And right now we have action alerts to ensure access to professional degree loans for CSD students,
Yeah.
for repealing the harmful Medicaid cuts and program changes to protect access to affordable health care coverage, for supporting funding for IDEA, for the telehealth coverage through Medicare, for asking Congress to support stopping, I'm not even going to try to say it, CMV, uh, for protecting newborn hearing screening programs. So there are a few more in there,
Well,
but
it sounds like you've made it as simple as possible for us to be part of the advocacy. And I feel like I owe you an apology. I've never clicked on that. I'm probably not alone, but I'll speak for myself. I have not clicked on that. And after this podcast, I will. So thank
and
you.
if you just go back like every other week, you just go in and click on whatever's there.
Thank you. Okay, I'm going to do a little housekeeping right now.
Mary Beth,
Yeah.
let me answer one last quick question. Folks are asking about their salaries. Y'all, these salaries are directly tied into your respective CMS manuals for reimbursement run by your state association. So there will be a CMS manual tied into school reimbursement rates and into private practice, as well as like hospital healthcare settings. And your state association advocates to have CPT codes in those CMS manuals, as well as the rate with which they go in, and whether or not it's a timed CPT code or an untimed CPT code, which is for the bird micro details. But that's why you have a seal, a stamp, a smack, a star, whatever we're called now, which is your liaison from your state association to their ASHA counterparts. So take your frets over your salary and drive it back. I can tell you in the time in South Carolina, these committees we worked, it took 8 years, but we were able to add 4 different CPT codes to the CMS manual and advocate for increased reimbursement, which to pull that off in South Carolina, that's like the pigs were flying. Literally made me buy a painting of a pig flying, but it can happen. But that has to be driven by your state association, and there are counterparts at ASHA to guide it. But ASHA has national level registered lobbyists. Your state association pays for the state association lobbyist who has to adhere to like essentially like certification or code of ethics at the state level. So that's a factor.
And
That is
Um,
so helpful.
Mhm.
And I again, I'm
Oh my gosh, yes. Sorry. I feel
someone
strongly
in
about
the
that.
chat who's asking about the interstate compact. I know that is on top of everyone's mind, especially those who do telepractice, and especially those who live in an area like mine that the metropolitan area covers a lot of different states, and so we end up having to have several different licenses or not being able to serve everyone in our area. So
it's here. You can sign up.
Yes.
37 states have signed on. So check out, search it at ASHA's website, the Interstate Compact, and you will see the 37 states that have signed up, and you can apply for the privilege to practice in other states by signing on to the compact. And ASHA continues to advocate for other states to sign on, and they are coming on slowly all the time, but it has arrived.
Mhm.
Okay, thank you. And I know there are some questions about specific states, especially those in the West. Can you speak to the Western states in general?
Yeah, I don't know the exact states, to tell you the truth. They can look at that website and it lists all the states um that are available.
Yes,
Okay,
and
but
if
rest
you
rest
have a
assured.
specific question, Susan Adams at the ASHA National Office can ask or can answer questions about a specific state.
Okay. Susan Adams.
S. Adams at ASHA.org.
Okay, and we can be assured that we have 37 states on, and you're still working on the remaining states.
And there's 36 states in a territory, technically.
Excellent.
Vicky's my fact checker.
Michelle, do you want to ask that next question?
Oh, no, I was just going to say it's not a quick fix. The state associations have to go in and sometimes open up their practice act to get the interstate compact in. But that opening of the practice act could allow other entities to try to access it, such as ABA or music therapist. So this is something that's done with great consideration and a significant amount of due diligence. So this isn't just a quick fix. It can take months to years in order to ensure that the Practice Act is safely opened and closed without unforeseens happening.
Yes.
So,
And the
yeah.
states have to sign on or log into the data system for the interstate compact in order to issue privilege to practice. So they are in the process of doing that. So not all of the states have done that yet. So as they do that, they will begin issuing privileges to practice.
Okay. Well, thank you. I hope that answers everyone's questions. And I know the Interstate Compact was a long time in the making. So thank you to both of you and everyone else at ASHA, and to Michelle, to you too, because you are very involved in ASHA, which is why we wanted to have you as a co-host today. So thanks to everyone. All right. Is there anything else that you would like to add, or any advice that you would like to give to early career professionals as they prepare to enter this evolving profession?
Yeah, so I do have some advice. I've talked to a couple of early career professionals recently, and they asked just that question. And I have said to them, try to say yes to everything that you can. Getting involved in your state associations, or in the many ways to volunteer that ASHA is going to present. I don't have a family, so I've been able to say yes to many things, many time-consuming things. I understand that some people can't do that, that they may be able to say yes to reviewing something that ASHA is going to put out, or being the editor of something, all of the different spectrum of time investment. So I would say to do that. And I would say to also really think about your brand. What do you want to be known for? Our students, we really talk to them a lot about the soft skills. Those are the things that are going to make you really successful at a job site. The things that are so simple, like being on time, working and playing well with others, just the really simple skills. Many people have strong clinical skills, but lack some of those soft skills. And that's what's going to make or break you at a lot of job sites. So there are rubrics out there. There was a great article in the ASHA Leader that I use with our graduate students a couple of years ago about soft skills, that people could go to the ASHA website and search in the journals, the ASHA Leader, and look up that article on soft skills, but to really pay attention to their soft skills. Those are my two really big things to tell early career professionals.
Thank you. Say yes and soft skills.
Yeah.
Don't underestimate yourself, because there are too many other people that will be busy underestimating you, especially as an early career professional. So don't waste your time underestimating yourself. Too many other people will try to do it for you.
Right. Sure.
The other one is be you. We need you. We don't need you trying to be somebody else. So be you and let you shine through, because there's a reason you're here, and you're here to do something nobody else can do.
Also, great advice.
Thank you, Vicki. So true and so important to hear that from you, a legend in our field.
Yes.
And I know you're both kind and humble, but you are legends. You have contributed so much. And as I said at the beginning, we are so honored to have had this conversation with you today. And thank you for saying yes to meet with us.
Well, thank you for having us.
Yeah.
I thoroughly enjoyed the conversation.
Right. It was a very lovely conversation with all of you.
Thank y'all.
And
Okay,
thank you, Michelle. Thank you so much to everyone at Speech Therapy PD for this opportunity.
Thank you, Mary Beth, for hosting. This was a great episode.
And thank you to all of our listeners who have listened to this podcast and so many others. It's been great getting to know you all. Have a great night, everyone.
Thanks, y'all.
Bye.
Everybody.
Take care.